Pay close attention to these two people caught in this CCTV clip. The woman standing by the front window is Maya Collins, 31, an elementary school teacher. The man seated in the corner, head bowed over his phone, is Ryan Hale, 34, an insurance adjuster, and Maya's ex-boyfriend. At first glance, they look like strangers sharing a quiet cafe, but in less than an hour, one of their lives will be shattered. And the story behind it all began months earlier with something no one thought twice about. A tiny device, no bigger than a coin. In late March of 2023, Maya moved into a modest second-floor apartment above a laundromat in an old Portland neighborhood. A small balcony, cheap rent, the kind of place a teacher chooses while saving for a house. She liked the street lamps that cast soft, golden lines across her living room floor each night. Friends said she was careful with her keys, with her words, with her heart. That caution would soon become her only defense. A year earlier, Maya had ended her relationship with Ryan. It hadn't been explosive, no police, no shouting, no slammed doors, just quiet arguments about trust. Late nights, he claimed, were work, and a growing silence between them. They packed their lives into boxes, promised civility, and parted ways. For a while, it seemed over polite texts, shared friends, occasional birthdays remembered. But endings written on paper don't always end in real life. Sometimes, they just pause. By September 2023, small things began to unsettle her. During her morning jog, the same black sedan appeared twice in 1 week, tailing just far enough to notice, never close enough to confirm. A neighbor mentioned a man loitering in the hallway, asking strange questions about the building's Wi-Fi. Then, a package arrived at her door, no sender, no contents, just a single folded receipt from a hardware store. She brushed it off, called it coincidence, paranoia. She locked the door, closed the curtains, and tried to sleep. She didn't know it yet, but someone had already placed a tracker under her car months earlier, a single AirTag. The first warning came at 2:17 a.m. Her phone buzzed to life with a notification. Unknown accessory moving with you. Half awake, she assumed it was a glitch, but the alert returned the next day, and the next. In the grocery store, at school, at the dentist, always the same message, always the same chill whisper from her phone. The accessory is nearby. That third night, dread replaced doubt. She opened the tracking app and saw it, a small gray dot moving on the map, mirroring her route through the city. Always a block or two behind, always there. Support told her not to worry. It could be someone else's AirTag, they said, just passing by. But deep down, Maya knew coincidence didn't follow her this precisely. She bought a Bluetooth scanner and swept every inch of her home. Behind the dryer, under the bed, between couch cushions. Nothing. Then, while wiping crumbs from under her car's steering column, her fingertip brushed something smooth, a ring of plastic, taped into shadow. She peeled it away, and a small white disc dropped into her palm. An AirTag. Her breath caught. The world tilted. What she'd dismissed as a glitch was now a weapon, one small enough to hide, powerful enough to follow her anywhere. She drove straight to the police station, clutching the disc like evidence from a nightmare. The detective on duty glanced at it and said measuredly,
"We'll log it, but unless we can trace its owner, there's not much to go on."
They were right, at least, for now. AirTags were built to find keys, not criminals. Alone, it was just a piece of plastic with no name. Back home, Maya hardened her world. She changed her routes, installed motion lights on her balcony, and started keeping a log of every strange license plate she saw. The alerts on her phone no longer felt random. They came in rhythm, vanishing when she entered crowded places, returning the moment she was alone. It wasn't chaos, it was choreography. The dot on her screen was never fast, never reckless. It lingered, watched, waited, not hunting, haunting. She began to suspect Ryan. He had the technical knowledge, the quiet patience, the kind of logic that once made him seem steady, and he had access. They'd shared cars, storage, passwords. He knew her habits better than anyone. Still, she texted him once just to be sure. "Have you been around my car?" He replied hours later, "No, hope you're okay." So polite, so detached, the kind of message that made her skin crawl. Maya started collecting everything: printouts of bank statements, AirTag histories, and screenshots of the black sedan. She built a digital folder and named it Surveillance. Digging deeper, she found something worse than proof: a pattern. Old emails from Ryan about a failed business loan, a lease with his signature scratched out, and then, buried in an old phone, a message thread she'd never seen or had forgotten. A deleted preview flickered at the top, a photo of her, asleep on the couch. It was taken from the foot of the bed, 2 months after their breakup. The caption read, "She looks peaceful, don't ruin it." Her hands trembled. Her breath came shallow. Someone had been inside her home not in the past week, but long before. The next morning, she returned to the police with everything she had. This time, the detective's tone shifted.
"We can try to trace who registered this AirTag,"
he said.
"but it'll take a warrant and time."
It wasn't resolution, but it was progress. Then came the letter, a plain envelope, no return address, waiting on her desk at school. Inside, a single sheet of paper listing dates, times, and locations. Her gym, her school parking lot, her corner store. All the places she thought were safe. At the top, in neat typewritten letters, "Hi, you should stop." And at the bottom, one more line. Faint, almost tender. "We know where you go when you think you're alone." Her fingers went cold. The fear was no longer abstract, it had a voice. Maya didn't tell anyone but the detective. The file was growing heavy, but so was her resolve. She wouldn't run anymore. She'd expose whoever was behind this. She didn't yet realize the truth was darker than she imagined, because before she could reveal her stalker, she'd uncover something far worse. A forgotten receipt, crumpled, faded, found in the pocket of an old jacket, carried the name of a security company. Curious, she called, pretending to be a potential client. The man on the phone listed employees, regulars, temps, contractors. And then one name stopped her breath cold. Ryan Hale. He'd worked for them the previous summer, 3 weeks on payroll, then gone. Every thread, the AirTag, the sedan, the photo suddenly braided into one chilling truth. He hadn't lost her. He'd been inside her life the whole time, so Maya made a choice. She would stop hiding and make him reveal himself. On a rain-soaked Wednesday, she changed her routine again. No phone, no car, just a paper map and a bright red scarf, something that couldn't be tracked, only seen. She sent one message to her friends. "If I don't post by 6, call." Then she waited. At 5:42 p.m., the dot appeared again. A black sedan crept down the street, headlights dimmed, engine low. It stopped a block away. A man stepped out, adjusted his collar, and lit a cigarette in the drizzle. He didn't move. He just watched. Maya lifted her phone, hands trembling, and took a photo. The image came out blurred, but not enough. The outline of a jawline, a familiar watch glinting beneath the sleeve. Her heart stuttered. She knew that face. She didn't know it yet, but the man outside had noticed something too. Not that she'd seen him, but that she'd started to look back. The next morning, Maya walked into the police station, her cracked phone screen still glowing faintly with the blurry photo. The detective studied it, sighed, and said quietly,
"We'll run it."
It wasn't much, but it was something. The car, the AirTag, the harassment, all threads in the same dark pattern. But days passed, and nothing changed. The law still called it harassment without credible threat. Maya left the station feeling invisible, unseen by her stalker, unheard by the people meant to protect her. That night, her phone buzzed again. Another alert. "Unknown accessory detected near you." Her breath caught. She hadn't even driven her car in days. She followed the signal through her apartment, step by step, until it stopped near the window. Outside, parked across the street, the same black sedan, engine idling, headlights off. That was the moment everything changed. The moment she stopped being afraid and started fighting back. Instead of calling the police, again, Maya began building her own case. She documented every ping, every shadow, every license plate number. She bought a used dashcam and aimed it at the street below her window. For 5 nights, the footage showed nothing, just empty pavement and passing headlights. Then, on the 6th night, at 3:11 a.m., the door of the black sedan opened. A man stepped out, crouched by her stairs, and pressed something small against the wall before walking away. When Maya paused the recording, she saw it, a tiny glint of white plastic, another AirTag. The detective called it disturbing. Ryan called it coincidence. When questioned, he denied owning a sedan, denied tracking her, denied everything. He was released the same afternoon. Police told Maya to stay aware, but awareness wasn't protection. It was paralysis. That weekend, she decided to turn the game around. She borrowed a friend's car, placed a decoy AirTag inside, and parked it outside the same coffee shop where she and Ryan had met dozens of times before. Then she waited. Hours later, her phone buzzed. "Accessory moving with you." He had taken the bait. Working with her detective, they traced the AirTag signal to a nearby parking garage. Officers arrived minutes later. Ryan's black sedan sat 2 floors down, trunk half open. Inside, they found 6 more AirTags, a laptop, and a folder labeled Maya Roots. On the laptop were hundreds of video files, footage from a hidden camera disguised as a smoke detector. Clips of Maya cooking, reading, sleeping. She had never known she was being watched. When Ryan was arrested, he barely reacted. He sat motionless at the interrogation table, eyes on the floor. After several minutes, he finally whispered, "I just wanted to make sure she was safe." The detectives pressed him. His voice cracked.
"I loved her,"
he said.
"She didn't understand."
He was charged with stalking, unlawful surveillance, and harassment. But for Maya, the worst part was still to come. 3 nights after his arrest, another plain envelope appeared at her door. No return address, just a single flash drive labeled Truth. Every instinct told her not to, but she plugged it in. One file, no title, just audio. She pressed play. It began softly, the creak of a floorboard, her own steady breathing as she slept, and then a whisper, "I miss you." Her heart froze. It was Ryan's voice. He had been inside her apartment. The recording sealed his fate. Detectives matched the background sounds to her home. The district attorney upgraded his charges to burglary and unlawful entry. A second search of his apartment uncovered even more AirTags, all registered to women he knew, co-workers, former clients, strangers. The media called him the AirTag predator. Ryan eventually pled guilty to multiple counts of stalking and illegal surveillance. At sentencing, he said only one thing:
"I didn't mean to hurt her."
The judge's reply was cold and final. "You didn't have to." Maya didn't attend the hearing. By then, she'd moved away, changed her name online, erased every trace of him from her life. But she did send a written statement to be read aloud in court. "You said you wanted to know where I was. Now you do. I'm somewhere you'll never find." Ryan Hale was sentenced to 12 years in prison. No phone, no tracking, no control. For the first time in years, Maya could breathe. Months later, while unpacking a forgotten box, she found a small envelope wedged between 2 books. The handwriting was his, inside a note written before his arrest. "You said I never listen, but I listened to everything." She slid the note into a shredder, watching it disappear inch by inch. Maya's story spread quickly. Podcasts, true crime shows, safety guides all told it. Because her case became more than one woman's nightmare. It became a warning. In interviews, she said something that still haunts people today. "He didn't chase me with a gun. He didn't break down my door. He followed me quietly until fear became normal." And for those who remember the story of Maya Collins, one truth remains. In today's world, danger doesn't always knock. Sometimes it pings. Because in cases like this, obsession doesn't die when love does. It hides waiting for the silence to answer back.